Welcome. We'll start today in an easy seated position. If you want to sit on a block or a blanket, or if you even want to take lotus, that's fine. So get into a comfortable position for you. Either Siddhasana, Sukhasana, so Siddhasana with the heels in front of each other and the knees kind of open out a little wider. Sukhasana is ankles crossed, easy pose. And then just root back down into your sitting bones. Lift your chest, soften your face, your neck, shoulders. And then breathe from your belly in and up. And feel your ears stack over your shoulders as you center your breath here. Soften your jaw, your teeth, your tongue. So you can just take a moment here to check in and notice where you're gripping. Notice where you're feeling any tension, any irritability. Maybe it's physical, maybe it's mental. And then notice your breath maybe moves a little smoother, a little easier. And if you're not noticing that, that's fine. It'll happen. Just give it time. And this is a time for you just to gain a better understanding of your body and what you're experiencing in your body today. So noticing if there's any achiness or any pain, extra energy, maybe an area that typically doesn't feel good feels really good today. Maintaining this awareness, we're going to move into some sun salutations. So if you need to sit here for a few more moments, please pause the video and stay here and just center before your practice. And when you're ready, you can come up to standing at the top of your mat. We'll start with sun salutation C. From mountain pose, Tadasana. Inhale, reach your arms. And exhale, forward fold, Uttanasana. And step your left leg back, lower your left knee down. Inhale, you can take your arms up or you can keep your hands on the floor. Low lunge. Exhale, take your hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. And take your left foot forward, lower your right knee down. Inhale, reach your arms. Exhale, release your hands and step forward, Uttanasana. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, release your hands, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach back up, Urdhva. Exhale as you fold, Uttanasana. Step your right foot back this time, lower your right knee down. Inhale, lunge, hands on floor or arms up to the ceiling. Exhale, take your hands down, downward facing dog. And then step your right foot up, left knee down. Inhale, low lunge, either hands on floor or arms up. And then exhale, step forward, Uttanasana. Push the floor away. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Samastitihi. Exhale. We'll do that again and add on a little bit more arm warm up. Inhale, reach. Stretch. Exhale, fold. Soften. Left leg back. Root down into the floor with your foot and your knee. Inhale, reach up. Low lunge. Exhale, hands onto the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. Inhale into plank pose. Knees down. Exhale, hips down and belly button down. Point your toes back. Engage your thighs. Lift your chest up. Exhale, up and back. Downward facing dog. Left foot forward. Right knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up. And exhale, step forward, soften into the pose. Inhale all the way up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach back up. Forward fold, exhale, Uttanasana. Right foot back, right knee down, push the floor away. Inhale. And exhale, hands down. Step back, downward facing dog. Plank pose, inhale. Knees, hips, belly. Inhale, lift your chest through and up, cobra. Exhale, up and back, downward facing dog. Right foot steps, left knee down. Inhale, reach your arms. And exhale, hands to the floor. Step forward, fold. Push the floor away. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach back up. Fold, exhale, Uttanasana. Step your left leg back, lower your left knee down. Inhale, reach your arms up, low lunge. Exhale, step back into plank pose. Inhale here. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, right knee down. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, step forward, Uttanasana, fold over your legs. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, reach back up. Exhale, fold. Maintain the push in your feet when you fold. Right leg back, right knee down. Inhale, reach your arms, lunge. Exhale, hands down. Plank pose, step back, inhale. Chaturanga on your exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, left knee down. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, step up, forward fold. Separate your feet, grab your big toes. Padangusthasana, exhale. So here, bend your elbows out away from each other. And look up under your belly. Pull your belly away from your thighs. Take your forehead towards your shins. Elbows press away from each other. And then inhale, lift halfway, scoot your feet back in, and come up to stand, Samastitihi, mountain pose. Utkatasana, inhale, bend your knees, fierce pose. Fold as you exhale. Once your hands land, straighten out your legs. Step or float back, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, turn your left heel down. Warrior one, inhale, reach your arms. And exhale, place your palms on the floor, step back, plank pose, chaturanga. Inhale, lift and lengthen, cobra or up dog. Exhale, press up and back, downward facing dog, pull up with your hips. Step your left foot forward, ground down through your right heel, push the floor away with both feet. Inhale, warrior one. Keep that left knee bending straight forward. Exhale, hands down. Step right back into plank. Take an extra inhale here if you need, if that one exhale is not working. And then exhale. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. And here for 5 breaths. Okay, step or hop back up. Fold, exhale. Bend your knees. Utkatasana, fierce pose. And straighten your legs. Samastitihi. Exhale. Step back with your left foot. High lunge, Ashta Chandrasana. Lift your left heel, press your right knee forward. And then exhale, take your hands down. Lift your right foot up, three-leg dog. Inhale. Exhale, squeeze it back through. Inhale, high lunge. Exhale, hands down. Plant your palms, sweep your right. Exhale, step it back up. High lunge. Bend your right knee even deeper. Lift your left heel even higher. Lift your chest even higher. Sink your hips lower. Exhale, hands down. One more. Right leg sweeps up. Inhale, three-leg dog. And then exhale, last one. High lunge. Step your right foot forward. Inhale, reach your arms, really sink the hips down. So you might have to situate your feet farther apart so that when you sink your hips down, your left heel doesn't come back to the floor. It lifts up even higher. Good, and then step forward, exhale. Separate your feet apart again, hips width. Place your palms under your feet. Exhale, Pada Sirsasana. And then here, you're gonna take your chin in towards your chest, forehead towards your shins. Press your toes down into your wrist. Bend your elbows away. And keep pulling your belly up away from your thighs. Okay, inhale, release. The fold halfway. Release your feet or release your hands out from underneath your feet. Heel toe your feet closer in together. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, Samastitihi. Right leg steps back, high lunge, Ashta Chandrasana. Inhale, reach your arms. Lift that right heel, press your left knee forward, push into your left heel. Exhale, hands down. Three-leg dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. And then exhale, squeeze your knee back through. Step your foot up to the top of the mat again. High lunge again. Maybe you've stepped forward a little bit more. Squeeze your thighs. So imagine you can pull the mat together with your thighs, but push the mat away with your feet. So push the ends of your mat apart with your feet. Pull the ends of your mat together with your thighs. And exhale, hands down. Again, inhale, lift that left leg up, three-leg dog. Exhale, squeeze it back through, step up. Inhale, Ashta Chandrasana. And one more, exhale, hands down. Place your palms, squeeze the mat with your index finger and thumbs. Press your left leg up. Exhale, squeeze through. Step back up, high lunge. Inhale. And then exhale, hands down, forward fold, Uttanasana. Take a half lift and then exhale, step or shoot back, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. All right, split your dog. Right leg lifts, inhale. And then as you exhale, step your right foot forward. High lunge, inhale. Turn your left heel down and press your left heel away from you, warrior two. So sink deeper into your warrior two than you do usually. Press straight down into the right heel, straight down to the ball of your left foot. Push that right knee away, push your left knee away from the two, move away from the center of your body. Side angle, exhale. Bend the right knee forward, left arm up overhead. Okay, take your hands down inside your right leg. Scoot your right leg out, lizard lunge. See if you can keep that left knee lifted. Squeeze your right knee into your chest or into your right shoulder, and then chest forward. Okay, and then from here, you're gonna take your right arm around your right leg, come up to standing or squatting, palms on the floor, sit, so the right leg is on the back of your right arm. Maybe a little confusing, so I'll show you from the front. I'm in lizard lunge here. I'm gonna take the right arm around behind the right leg from the inside, so it's not around the outside, it's around the inside and around the back. And then your left foot comes forward, sit. You've got your right leg over the back of your right arm. Okay, palms are on the floor, the right elbow's bent out to the side, left arm is straight. If you need blocks here, put blocks under your hands. My right foot, you can bend forward and bend your elbows until your right foot comes down to the floor, and then start to push your hips up, and then maybe float your leg. So it's Eka Pada Sirsasana. You can also start to hook your left leg over the right, squeeze your legs together, bend your elbows, Ashtavakrasana, 8-angle pose. Make sure the left leg is squeezing up to the right arm if you're taking this posture. And then inhale, come up out of it, back into your one leg, arm pressure, and then we're gonna go back, okay? So then you're gonna come up to standing again, right foot down, lizard, and then take your right arm around, left heel down. If you can bind side angle. Okay, and then hands to the floor. Lift that left leg up or right leg up, 3-leg dog. Open the hips slightly. And move through chaturanga. Exhale. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, child's pose or downward facing dog. Okay, left leg, inhale, lift it up. And then exhale, step your left leg through, high lunge, Ashta Chandrasana. Inhale, reach up. And then your right heel comes down at an angle, but push the right heel away. So you've got some space between your feet and the two heels line up. Bend your left knee straight forward and push back into that right heel. Try to sit your hips down a little lower than you normally would. Exhale, side angle, left hand down. Bend the left knee over your ankle, so don't let your left knee come back. That's going to send your hips up, hips down. Keep pushing your left leg into your left arm so that it's opening up, not collapsing in. And keep your hips low, but your left sit bone under. Okay, exhale, hands down. Hands inside your left leg for that lizard lunge. Open your chest. Keep your right thigh engaged. Keep lifting your right thigh if you can. And keep your left knee squeezing into your left ribs. Chest moving forward. Okay, and then from here we're going to transition. So again, your left arm would come behind, And then you would shoot your right foot up and sit down, and then right leg out and go right into that on one leg arm pressure. So again, if you need to come to the floor and take it, just gonna stack that left left leg over your left arm, hands on the floor, and then you can bend your elbows so the left foot comes down, and then you can start to help to lift your butt up with your left foot, okay? Otherwise, balance, Eka Pada Sirsasana, trying to let your shoulders collapse down. If you're gonna cross your right ankle over your left, squeeze your knees together like a clamshell, and then bend your elbows. Keep your gaze in your chest forward. Left hip lifts, push out with your left foot to straighten out your right leg. Inhale, come back up. And then we're gonna go back. Reverse. So squat back up. Take that bound side angle or straight up side angle, whichever one works for you. Roll your right ribs open, bend your left knee forward, push back with your right foot. Okay, exhale, release your hands down. Lift that left leg up gently so you don't shuck it. And open it up if it feels good. Okay, and then move into your chaturanga. And you can skip the chaturanga and go right into child's pose or stay in downward facing dog. Exhale if you're lowering down. Inhale into upward facing dog. And exhale. Downward facing dog or child's pose. And then hop up. I'm going to turn and face you. Malasana garland pose. Feet together, knees open, and then fold down inside your thighs. You can take your hands around and either reach up to your back with your fingers or grab your heels and take your forehead towards the floor. And then we'll move into Bhujapadasana. Both legs are going to come around your arms for the arm pressure pose. So I'm going to lift up and separate my feet a little farther. And I'll show you here from the side real quick. With your feet a little farther apart, you can start to bend your knees and take your hands inside and around. And then squat here. And just pause here. So my thumb and my index finger are framing my heel, and I'm pushing down into the palms of my hands. This is going to help to get your hips and arms, wrists open for the arm pressure pose. And then if you can fly with the arm balance, some find it easier to put your hands under feet and then walk the feet off your hands to hook your feet. So you can hook whatever leg you like. I usually do right foot over left foot. So I'll come back and show you the front now. And I'm going to sit down into my hands. Elbows need to bend. Feet walk toward each other. I'm hooking my right foot over my left foot. And then I'm going to lift my feet. And then start to look forward and start to push your feet away. So it pulls your arms straight. And then release, back to the floor, forward fold, exhale, get your arms out from behind your legs. Okay, half lift, exhale, shoot back. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come to seated. Half Lord of the Fishes. So I'm going to take my left leg around, left leg under, and heel around the outer right hip. Right ankle hooks left thigh. Right toes are pointing straight forward. And then I'm going to either hug or hook with my left arm and take my right hand around behind. So I'm twisting from the middle upper back, keeping the right hip from moving back. Pushing into that right foot will help that. So resist, push on into your right foot and push forward so that your right hip doesn't pull back. Okay, and then inhale, release that. Uncross your legs out of half floor of the fishes, Ardha Matsyendrasana. Soles of your feet together, Baddha Konasana. Pull your heels in. You can hook your fingers underneath, interlace. Press your knees out and down towards the floor. Inhale, and then exhale, stretch forward. And keep pressing your knees down, chest forward, so not rounding, right? Elbows are not pressing my thighs down. Elbows are squeezing into my ribs. So instead of pushing my thighs down with my elbows, I'm pressing my chest through my shoulders and using my elbows to pull back and assist that chest press through. Okay, inhale, release. Cross the other way. So right heel around under the left hip and then left foot on top of my right thigh, just right at the end of the knee, at the end of the femur, so right above the knee. Left toes point straight forward. And again, I'm pushing into the floor with that left foot so my left hip does not move back when I twist. So we don't want the hip moving back. And when I do that, my foot's sloppy. So if I push this foot down, this hip won't move as easily. It's going to move some, but it's not going to be flopping around. In fact, squeeze your left sit bone to your right heel and then really push down into your left heel on the floor and twist from your solar plexus from the core right here. Okay, then inhale, release that. And then instead of, you can move into bound angle again. You can take the soles of your feet together, or we can add on to Kurmasana turtle. And that would be legs moving out apart. First, I'm going to take my feet forward away from my hips. So I've got my knees not in such an extreme flexion. And just to start, you can take your arms under your legs and place your palms on top of your feet. And then forehead to your feet. Eventually your feet come up behind your head. Not doing that. But then the next little add-on, if you want here, you could start to take your feet out away from each other and straighten your legs out a little bit. But you want to keep some space that you can take your arms back, shoulders roll down. So it's an internal rotation of your shoulders because your palms are going to be on the floor. And then the other side. And then you can start to straighten out your legs. Chin to the floor. And then you're going to press down on the backs of your arms with your hamstrings. Maybe lift your heels. Okay, release. Come out of that. Make wise decisions when you do this. All right, and then from here, I'm going to just kick my left leg around. Right knee at the top of the mat, Eka Pada Sirsasana. So if you need any props for under the right hip, I'm going to come to my elbows. That was an intense forward fold. If you did that legs out variation with your arms trapped under. So before moving into a giant back bend here, give your back a moment to come out of the forward fold. And then if you'd like to, you can start to come up a little higher. If it hurts your back, don't do it. So this practice for me is a little prep for Eka Pada Sirsasana, which I'm working toward, which is 1 foot behind the head. And so pigeon is a back bend. Eka Pada Sirsasana is a forward fold. And so in this pigeon shape, if you're preparing for the back bend, you would keep your heel up to your hip. If you're preparing for 1 foot behind the head, then you could take the foot forward and take the more parallel-ish shin. But honestly, I would say put something under the right hip to lift up a little higher so that you're not grinding your femur into the labrum, into the hip joint. So my right knee is not even on the floor. I'm pulling my right hip back and I'm starting to press my chest forward. And then eventually my right, not even my butt, but the outer right thigh comes down to the floor. The inner, it's kind of like somewhere between the outer and the inner thigh, behind the thigh and outside the thigh. Or whatever, I can't even explain it. And eventually you can kind of take it back a little bit more. So you've got the knee coming back behind the heel. But again, really just be careful with that grinding of the labrum. If you feel any grinding, you're going to lift up a little higher. Okay, so my hip's not on the floor. Eventually this is going to turn into, like I said, that head behind the foot pose. I'm pushing into my right hand to keep my left hip on my left thigh on the floor so I'm not falling over into my right hip. I don't want any weight in my right hip in this position. It's too vulnerable. And then before I fall over to that right hip to come out of it, I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to walk this foot back over to the side of the mat and just go into lizard lunge. So don't fall over to the right side in that. It's really bad. So here I am in my lizard lunge. And now my left knee's on the floor. I just walked out of that from pigeon. So if you were in the back bend, you could, same thing, just kind of put your foot back, lift your knee up and walk your foot over to the side. So something to play with, that Eka Pada Sirsasana here is from a lizard pose. So if you can start to take your shoulder behind, maybe even your head can start to come behind your foot. I gotta move things out of the way. So you can start to get your head behind your foot. It's not feeling super good for me today. So my other option is to come to the floor and take a little leg baby and start to play with lifting my heel up and my foot back and just starting to get the heel and the head to connect. When you do take Eka Pada Sirsasana, it is a matter of bending and putting your head behind your foot. So if you're gonna work on that, foot comes up, and then I'm going to take it behind my leg behind, just like I did for the Eka, for that one leg arm pressure. And then instead of taking my foot behind my head, I'm going to start to take my head down to my foot. It's not working for me today. Something's going on this hip. Things are grinding. I'm not liking it. So maybe this is a practice you do a different day, but it's here for you if you want to come back and revisit it. Here we go. There we go. Okay. And then once you get your head behind there, you just kind of push into your foot with your head. And then that usually results in a nice little cramp in my core. All right, let's do the second side pigeon. So we're gonna get out of the right leg. You can pause the video and work on that a little longer if that's something that you're practicing. Eventually you don't need to use your hand. You can just let your shin come, your heel comes back to your left shoulder blade, and then you forward fold out over your left leg. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna take my left knee into Eka Pada Sirsasana, so one leg king pigeon. And again, I'm just gonna come down into the elbows first because that Eka Pada Sirsasana is an intense forward fold. So I just want to take a moment to not be in a massive forward fold, but also not be in a huge back bend. And then if you're feeling the back bend, you can walk your hands up a little and in a little to lift your chest up a little higher. This will probably feel good if you did that Eka Pada Sirsasana prep on the right side. Now you're stretching out the front of the right hip, which was just a massive flexion. So it might be a nice little treat to the right hip. Take it. And then if you want to work on the Eka Pada Sirsasana prep instead of Eka Pada Sirsasana prep, which is one leg king pigeon, you can start to lift that left foot up a little higher. And again, I'm going to flex this left ankle so the outer ankle bone's not even on the floor and my left knee is lifted. So I'm really pushing into this left hand. If you need a block under that left hand, do it. Or if you need a block under your left hip, put a block under the left hip or two. But you don't want to put a bunch of weight down into that thigh, into that hip joint when it's in this ridiculous position, okay? It's not the point. So in Eka Pada Sirsasana, there's no weight on your left hip or your foot behind the head. There's no weight on that side hip. So there shouldn't be in the prep. So just keep that in mind. If you're taking a prep for something and it looks nothing like the pose that you're working into, then how is it a prep? And ease yourself into the position that feels good for you. Again, I'm not putting any weight in that left hip. I'm pushing into my left hand to keep the weight over in my right thigh. And keep that left ankle flexed. In fact, lift the outer left ankle bone up off the floor. Okay, and then from here, you can move it over into your lizard lunge. Hands on the floor, inside of your left foot. Keep squeezing the left knee into your arm. And then here's where you could, if you really wanted to, for some reason this just doesn't help me a lot at all, you can start to take it under and then your head behind. I feel pinching, so that's no bueno for me. So instead, I'm going to come through to seated and then leg baby. So now my left leg's my baby. And then, I mean, any movement here that can get the hip, so you'll feel it when bone is grinding and compression on the ligaments or the nerves. We don't want any of that tingly, buzzy sensation or hachi-machi. Yeah, that hurts, right? You don't want that shit. It's not good. All right, so then from here, if you want to play with the leg behind the head, again, I'm just kind of working on getting that hip to open up. The knee has to, there we go. Something just moved. The knee has to come back, okay? So the knee has to come back. So maybe this is where you are just playing with getting that knee back. Again, that archer's pose that we did a while back, this is a good prep for that. And then I'm gonna start to take the left arm under, just like I did for my one arm leg pressure pose. And then stuff now is just moving again. Be aware of your body though, that's super important. That's why at the beginning of this practice, I wanted you to sit and take a few minutes just to check in. Because if you don't know what's happening in your body and you move too fast, can't go back and redo it. It's done and over with. The damage is done. All right, so again, I'm going to start to take the heel up and head behind. Sometimes I just got to move things around. Sometimes it's also easier to sit up on something. Never rushing into anything like this, okay? There we go. And I'm using my right hand to hold my foot and left hand on the floor for balance. Okay, and then come out of that as long, sometimes it's just like, oh, I touched, get the hell out of it, right? It just feels good to inch your way towards these postures. I mean, what's the fun of yoga if you can do them like that? Then it's not exciting anymore. All right, let's come down onto the back. We'll let this relax for just a moment, not being in a forward fold. And then we're going to go up into a back bend. So you can choose if you take Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward wheel, upward bow, which some people call it wheel, so it's that. And then Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, supported bridge pose is another good option. So Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, I'll start with that. Shoulders come in. Hands are down, so your upper back is off the floor right now. You can stay here with your sit bones on the floor and really overarching your back. And then my shoulders are squeezing in. Then if you'd like to, you can start to lift your hips up by pressing down into your heels and then pressing your chest back towards your chin. Press into your heels and then your hands might come together. And then your shoulders could squeeze together a little bit more, so you're almost on the outside of your shoulder rather than the back. All right, and then release a little bit the shoulders. Take your hips back down. Tailbone down, lift your shoulders, arms up. And then press your back down to the floor and then release your arms out to the side. Big breath here. And if you want to add in Urdhva Dhanurasana, upward bow. Hands under your shoulders, palms flat, hair out of the way. And then you can start by lifting up, maybe coming to the top of your head here and getting in a little closer. I like to lift my heels for the first one, especially with my dumb back. Press your shoulders back over your wrists. And only stay in that for as long as it feels good. 2 breaths, 3 breaths, it doesn't even matter. It just feels good to get into that and feel the shape. Feel the immediate boost of energy. And then don't overdo it. Don't overuse it. Rest on your back for a moment with your knees together. Okay, I'm going to roll over to my left so you can see. Right hand on the floor, left arm comes back. And then I'm going to lay back down on my left side and then move into a shoulder stretch here. So your feet can be on the floor, your knees up. Your left knee can also be on the floor. Knees both can be on the floor. Keep that left hand up a little higher than your shoulder, not too much. And you can have something under your head here if this is getting tiring. Okay, and I'm going to come back over to the left hip, push the floor away with my right hand, and then roll back down onto my back. Ooh, felt something there. All right, I'm going to roll over to my right, push up with my left hand so my right arm can come through and behind, lay back down on my right shoulder. Again, the right hand's not down. It's not up too high. Just a tiny bit higher than the right shoulder. And then feet can come to the floor or your knees. Ooh. Can both lay on the floor. Okay, come back over to your right hip. Use your left hand to push the floor away and come under that back onto your back. All right, and then we'll take shoulder stand. So you can come into any version of shoulder stand that you like. If you want to use the wall or a chair under your feet to push up. And I'm going to start in reclining. And then I'm going to roll up. I'll move this over though. Give me just a moment. You're in it. Have fun. I'll catch up. Okay. Your legs up to the ceiling. Hands up as high on your back as you can get them. Elbows as close together as you can get them. Don't talk here. If you can take lotus, you can take your right heel up into your left hip crease, and then your right hand can help your left foot come up and over. You can keep your hands on your back, or you can take your hands up to your knees for Urdhva Padmasana. Some days it works better than others. My ankle's not letting me do it. Okay, you can release that lotus if that was not okay on my ankle. So I'm going to take it out. And if you're in lotus, keep it. You're going to come into fish pose, Matsyasana. If you still got your lotus shape, You're going to take your knees down and catch your big toes, lift your body up, and let your head come back to the floor. So I'll take half lotus so you can see. So the top of your head to the floor. And use blocks under your upper back and head if you need. All right, and then you can come up out of that. Lift with your head. Use your elbows on the floor. Release your legs. And take your feet flat on the floor. And just take a moment here in constructive rest. If you want to twist, you can drop your knees off to the left or the right. Yeah. You take happy baby. I just like to move right into relaxation. I've done enough work. Do what you need to do to make you happy, right? But know when you've done enough work, okay? And give yourself credit for doing that work. While you're here, focus on your breath. Check back in just like you did at the beginning of class and notice how it's changed, how your body, your thoughts, your feelings, your mood, how it's changed. And it doesn't matter why or when or how it changed, just notice it. Those things will come later. You'll start to connect the dots later. But when you start looking for them and searching for them, you just get frustrated and anxious and impatient. So let your body relax here and let the things happen that are going to happen. And I'll let you carry out your Shavasana as long as you'd like. Take your time as long as you have. And as always, end your practice with the bow to yourself. Thanks, yogis.